Star Trek's new universe is so horrible. I'm literally cheering for the Borg. For decades, Star Trek has represented the pinnacle of hopeful sci-fi. It painted a future where humanity overcame its darkest instincts, formed alliances with alien civilizations, and built a federation rooted in progress, exploration, and peace. But lately, with new entries expanding the canon, the franchise's universe has taken a bleak turn. The utopia Gene Roddenberry once imagined is eroding. And in the latest twist, the state of things has gotten so bad that I find myself doing the unthinkable. Cheering for the Borg. Yes, the Borg. The soulless, merciless hive mind once considered Trek's ultimate nightmare. That's how broken the new Star Trek universe feels. The villains are starting to look like the only sane option. The Federation isn't what it used to be. The Federation was always flawed, but it had ideals. Starfleet was imperfect yet aspirational, striving toward the better angels of its nature. In today's stories, however, that vision has been smudged beyond recognition. Recent series have shown the Federation fracturing, retreating into isolationism, and even abandoning colonies. Instead of boldly going, Starfleet is bogged down in bureaucracy, paranoia, and short-sighted self-preservation. When we look at captains now, many aren't diplomats or explorers, they're survivors in a political mess. Gone is the boundless optimism of Picard or Janeway. What we have instead is moral compromise at every corner. And when the galaxy's so-called paragons of virtue are reduced to backstabbing and betrayal, suddenly the idea of a unified collective, yes, even the Borg's collective, starts to feel refreshing. At least they're consistent. The galaxy feels smaller and meaner. The Borg once terrified because they represented infinity, a faceless horde, expanding endlessly, threatening the entire galaxy. But part of what made them so scary was the richness of the universe surrounding them. Vulcans, Klingons, Cardassians, Bajorans, all with vibrant cultures worth protecting. Now, that vibrancy has dimmed. Many new storylines lean heavily on nostalgia, recycling characters and species we've seen before rather than building new galactic frontiers. Other corners of the franchise depict a galaxy gutted by war, scarcity, or apathy. Worlds feel disposable. Races are reduced to stereotypes. Exploration is no longer the centerpiece. Survival is. And here's the irony. If the universe is this hostile and diminished, doesn't assimilation start sounding like a mercy? The Borg don't discriminate. They don't abandon colonies. They don't care about petty Federation politics. In a universe this dark, the idea of being swept into one unstoppable wave almost seems liberating. Starfleet has lost its moral compass. When Picard faced the Borg in the best of both worlds, the conflict mattered because it was a test of Federation morality against an unstoppable foe. Starfleet fought not just to survive, but to preserve individuality, freedom, and compassion. In the new universe, though, those values are hollowed out. Captains are ordered to commit atrocities for expedience. Admirals are often revealed as corrupt. Even our heroes carry more baggage than vision. The Federation talks about ideals, but rarely lives them. When you look at how easily they bend or break their principles, the Borg almost come off as more honest. Their philosophy is brutally clear. You will be assimilated. There's no hypocrisy there, no doublespeak. As horrifying as their doctrine is, it's transparent in a way Starfleet no longer feels. Villains start looking like heroes. What happens when your good guys are compromised at every turn? The villains start shining brighter. Klingons were once the ultimate aggressors, but their honor code became a mirror for humanity's growth. Cardassians were oppressors, yet DS9 gave us characters who transcended their system. Even the Romulans, once archetypal schemers, gained depth. Now, the Borg are the ones gaining a strange sense of appeal. Not because they've changed, but because everything else has deteriorated. A society collapsing under hypocrisy and corruption makes the Borg's cold efficiency look almost noble. They're the last villains who haven't been watered down by moral grayness. In a galaxy of half measures, they remain absolute. Why we cheer for the Borg now? It's not that assimilation suddenly sounds fun. No one wants cybernetic implants drilled into their skull. But metaphorically, the Borg's promise of unity and clarity resonates against the chaos of the modern Trek universe. They've become a twisted reflection of the Federation itself. One collective, one shared purpose, one destiny. Only difference? The Borg don't pretend to be anything else. They don't hide their dark side behind talk of diplomacy or exploration. They are what they are. And in a universe where everyone else seems compromised, that honesty feels strangely comforting. Trek's ultimate irony. The fact that some fans could even imagine cheering for the Borg is the ultimate irony, and perhaps a warning. The darker Trek becomes, the more tempting its villains will feel. If the writers want us to fear assimilation again, they